buffs that the wildlife buffs that the team has. If you click on it, you see decreased class cooldown. That's from the Megamouth, and you can see the timer on there, the timer wheel. And if you hover over or click on the specific class, you'll be able to see that buff that they have and exactly how much they have left of it. We do still have the monster outlined, as I mentioned before. If we go to the monster and we have the characters outlined, it's going to have the hunters and Daisy outlined, so you can see that here. So they're outlined, and we're going to hide all, and then you'll be able to see all of their outlines here. Another part of the tool. So basically, it's similar to the feature as if the monster was sniffing, but not just the monster sees this. You see all of this from the observer tool. So the hunters have the monster in a nice spot here. If we go back to showing all, you're going to go back to being able to see the armor, the health, and the energy of the monster. As he's trying to hide, he's trying to sneak around right now because he does have pretty low armor. He does take care of that mine, though, with the flame breath, so nicely done. 77% to 23 survival odds just ticked up again and ticked up again as Hyde keeps coming in with the flamethrower, excuse me, Markov with the lightning gun, rather, coming in and doing that damage. And there was also damage help from Hank with the laser cutter, and you saw the survival odds ticking up as they tick up some more. Once the hunters are being healed by the medic, the survival odds are going to go up in their favor as well. You can see two of them with strikes, though, and Daisy with the strike as well. You can see that on the HUD. You can see that right here in the observer view. So 3 strikes on the team, including Daisy. And so with that said, that's going to affect the survival odds as well. So another good time to bring up the mini-map. As you see the pursuit, you can see the way that these guys are trying to pursue and the direction they're taking. You're going to see if they do a team split, as we mentioned before. And it looks like they sort of are. We have medic here. We have support here. Trapper here. Assault as well, in with the team. And Daisy back with Trapper. So Trapper and Daisy separated a bit from the bunch. But you can see they're going to take this cutoff route here. And if they continue in that direction, you'll be able to see this nice cutoff dome, which you can anticipate here from observer mode and call really well. And there it is. There's the dome. So nice catch and a good tool to use that mini-map specifically to see the dome happen in real time. So we switch to Trapper, who goes right into the Tyrant. So nice Tyrant view. You gotta love the Tyrant cam when you have someone in the Tyrant. I would love to see more of that feature. So if these guys would oblige and go in the Tyrant some more. They're getting wrecked right now. Got a bad dome with the Tyrant in there. Monster taking full advantage of it. So we switch back to the Monster. This is another time to go to that bird's eye view as the rest of the team struggling to get back up. Medic now with 2 strikes. Trapper with 2 strikes. Support way down on health. But the Monster, though, you can see as well, very low sliver of armor and very low health. On the move again. Another good time to bring up the mini-map. You can see if they are indeed getting any separation from the Hunter team. This is such a crucial time to get away and either evolve or maybe get some armor up and re-engage, depending on what your playstyle is. Really, at this point, not here to judge the playing style or dictate what the playing style should be. Really just here from the observer, and as either a casual observer or as the most hardcore caster, whatever you want to do, you're going to be able to use this mode to call the game and to give your opinions in the best possible scenario. So as you saw, more points being spent into abilities here at stage 3. A little more health on the bar there as his health bar gets bigger. And we see support go down as well. Odds teeter-tottering back and forth, now in favor of the Monster because he did stage up and because he did get that bigger health bar. And the Hunters start to fall. As Maggie went down, Maggie's dead now, and so now that she's waiting for the drop ship, the odds went back fully in the Monsters' favor, now at 57% to 43 for the Hunters. So a good time to pop the mini-map again as you see the bird's eye view of the monster here and the separation that the monster is getting from the team. Back to Daisy. She's going to be lonely now that Maggie's gone, so now she's just sniffing along, trying to find her owner and master and trying to find the rest of the team. Support here with one strike. He's on the trail, on the tracks. What we'll do here is we'll hide the HUD fully, and we do have outlines on, so you're able to see the outline of the monster as the observer as he's moving along. And the hunters here, you can see their outline as well. So back on the mini-map, and you can see the separation. You can also see the approach that the hunters are taking, and you can judge by that if it's a wise approach, if it's a tactical approach, or if it's a panicked approach going into the fray. So you can see great view from the the shield projector from support. So I definitely like to focus on support or medic when I'm in combat, or the monster as well. The monster also gives a nice view, but being able to see the really clutch shielding from support, or potentially the damage dealing from the assault. As we 1v1 here, I think Daisy's left as well. As the assault just getting battered and tattered. And we'll go to the monster view. You'll be able to see him potentially finish him off. Looks like support's in there as well, as we have a barrage. Trapper back up, Trapper back in. Here comes a rock on assault. So overall, just great way to view the game and to just look at all the different views, just from a strategic, trying to learn the game better, trying to see what people are doing better. So, getting in with a really good team, and if they're, nice enough to let you in and observe their mode, observe their game that they're playing. As you can see, the mine is here. It's going to knock him out of the sneak pounce. So big key when you're playing Markov is to get those mines out if the monster's trying to pounce you. Great job by Assault. This is mono a mono. Big rock throw. Assault goes down. Daisy is all that's left. Daisy up. Hopefully we'll wander through some mines, and we'll probably finish here with the monster. Monster for the win. So a great win for the monster there. You can see the game sort of fall apart in the clutch close quarters there. And here is definitely a different view of the Broken Hill Mine post-hunt stats. As I mentioned before, this is something we had in pre-alpha that we brought back for observer functionality. Shows the round length, 17 minutes on the dot, and it shows the health of all the characters, and then from left to right is the full game. You see the peaks and valleys of in caps and reses, and then other in caps, second deaths, full deaths, stage 2, stage 3 for the monster, and then also the first contact went to Assault there. On the right hand side, as we mentioned before, monster and hunter stats, damage done by both parties. You see the healing coming out of the healing of the healer. And we're going to jump back out, and we're going to go into game 3. I'm going to set that up here in just a second. Tom, if you want to pop back onto the main camera. So that was Broken Hill Mine. We're going to jump back into Hunt, and we're going to go back into Broken Hill Foundry. And I'm going to set up the game here, and these guys will jump in and select their characters. Observer mode, as mentioned before, The observer functionality is in a 6-character slot. And so how it works is that you are invited by the person that created the game, or you can create the game yourself. You can create a custom game, invite everyone in there, and then whoever wants to be the observer or the caster or the person, just analyzing the game, maybe even the coach. I think this is a great way for people to coach or manage a team, if that's what you're into, and take that observer mode and sit in there with the guys playing and analyze their gameplay and coach them from that observer slot. You'll be able to do that. So it's through a custom game. As I mentioned, you can be the host, you can be the party leader, and be the observer. Create that game and then invite everybody in. And then once everybody is in, they can select their characters, and then you jump in the game as normal, and then you're able to use that observer mode, that observer functionality, that observer tool from that 6-character slot. So we're jumping into Game 3. This is going to be back at Broken Hill Foundry. So if you're just joining us, welcome to the stream, welcome to the chat. And we are showing off the 2 new maps, which Turtle Rock debuted yesterday, Broken Hill Foundry and Broken Hill Mind. And we are showing off the observer tool today as well. We're going to have Hyde, Maggie and Daisy, Cabot and Lazarus versus Kraken here. Shout out to Tom Powers and James Slavin. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for everything you do. Shout out to Pitfall. I see him in the chat there. Shout out to everybody in the stream, in the chat. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Friday afternoon, Saturday morning for some of you folks. Good morning if you're just waking up. On the sticks today, we've got Nick, James, Luke, Ben, and Josh playing as hunters and monsters. These guys are the OGs, bringing their skills to the new maps and observer mode. Jumping into Game 3, Broken Hill Foundry. Yeah, today on the stream we are showing off the new maps, and we're showing off observer functionality. Other than that, stay tuned, stay patient, and you will be seeing a lot more on everything you're asking for soon as we get very close to spring. Officially next Friday the 20th. Very excited. Just kicked off daylight savings time here in the good old US of A. So lots of daylight left in the afternoon now to go outside and do activities before I huddle away in my room all alone and play Evolve with the world. Game 3 here, observer mode. And this is the Foundry. This is the Broken Hill Foundry as we have a Kraken here. Back to the basics of observer functionality. You have character camera selections on the right-hand side. You can select these and view the camera of that specific character. You can move the camera around. You can use a controller for this. I'm using mouse. Pretty awesome. I can basically do all this functionality in here with just the mouse, leaving my left hand free for a sandwich or a beverage of choice. Once the hunters are in and down on the ground, I like to switch to them. You can see their view here. In those camera selections, we also see the stage of the monster, monster's health, armor, and energy towards evolution. He's very close to being ready for stage 2. Looks like they got him in an arena here. As I mentioned before, if we switch to the mini-map, there it goes. Switch to the mini-map, we'll be able to see where that arena is. We'll be able to see the spread in the arena, exactly where the monster is. So no Val, so this yellow outline now here means Cabot has the dust tagging on him. And so let's see where Laz is. This is definitely a good view for Laz. Laz should always be out of the action, be that silent sniper, and so always a good view of the battlefield from him. Also fun to watch when he actually does finally get focused by the monster. So I like to put the mini-map up when we're in pursuit or in the dome so I can see what's going on. If we click on outline players, as we mentioned before, it's easy to see when we hide the HUD, the monster is now outlined. If we switch to one of the hunters, if we switch to the monster, the hunters are then outlined in red. Daisy as well. Speaking of Daisy, everybody's favorite Daisy cam. This will show exactly where Daisy is, what she's doing, what she's looking at, and her notification. Survival odds in the bottom left-hand corner. This fluctuates up and down depending on the monster's armor, health, and the hunter's health. If there's any incapacitations, any deaths. Nice cinematic views if you hide the HUD. You can also get a feel for the hunter's jetpack mobility. And if they're managing their jetpacks well. Oh, almost a plant there. That was awesome. So plants definitely not less dangerous in observer mode. See a plant, kill a plant. Sap cap, as they like to say. T-shirts coming soon, I believe. Nice lightning strike. You can see him going cloak as Hyde comes in with the flamethrower. So you can see, as I mentioned before, on the monster camera selection, you can see the the buff. It's going to be a hard one to get out of the vocabulary to switch up. But the elite wildlife buff, birds ignore monster rather, and you can see the timer here. And then below that, you have the armor, health, and energy. Monster ready to evolve. You can see the monster with the last engagement and the full armor, the full health. The odds very, very similar. As the hunters start to take damage, they're going to jump back and forth and slowly start to go in the monster's favor. So I'd love to see this. Nice way to see the sneaking. And with the map on, you can see the separation. You can see the confusion in the hunters, and you can see the jukes. The jukes are real. That said, though, you can see the outline of the monster in observer mode, so you can see exactly where he is from the hunter's perspective. You can see how close they are to having him in line of sight. We mentioned line of sight before. It's such a key factor in Evolve. Line of sight when you're healing and shielding. As the monster is just staged up, 3 points in Lightning Strike, 3 points in Banshee Mines. You see that, 2 points in Banshee Mines, rather. You see that there just after the monster stages up, so that's a pretty awesome feature. And then you see the separation here on the map. But as I mentioned, line of sight, so important, especially when you're playing with Val and Hank, the Beam team. You want to stay line of sight of those characters, or you want to be able to tell your teammates to stay in line of sight. And so when you're in observer mode here, you do have that third-person view where you can see exactly if someone is in line of sight. And if that keeps happening a lot, where people are going out of line of sight, it's going to allow you to, analyze that and talk about that with your viewers. So monster getting melted. We do have a Cabot back in here. He's using that damage amplifier with Hyde's flamethrower. So massive damage, melting the armor down. Monster did pick up another buff to increase movement speed. You can see that almost full timer there. And the actual buff name when you hover over that camera selection. The bird's eye view, spectacular from Kraken, as he can get so high in the air. I'm sure the Sky Wraiths are going to be a beautiful sight as well from this view. If you really want the cinematic view, really paint a picture of how gorgeous the game is, but also how intense the fights are, you can turn all the HUD off and sit here on the monster, see what he does with his abilities, and from that view. You can also see the pursuit angles, as we do have the hunters highlighted. Give me one quick second. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm dying over here. And I'll be right back on the mic. All right, I'm back. So the date of the 20th, not a release date, ladies and gentlemen. That is the first day of spring. The first day of spring is March 20th. All right, Monster on the Move. Looks like we had a request for some of the destructible areas to be shown on the mini-map. We'll see if we can get lucky with that. I can't really request anything from these guys. These guys are in the middle of a heated match behind me on their headsets. So if we can go through one of those destructible areas, that would be pretty awesome. You guys will be able to see where that is. I'll keep the mini-map up just for that. According to Google, the 20th of March is the first day of spring. I'm just going to go with that. The internet told me March 20th, first day of spring. That's right. As Pitfall said, March 20th, first day of spring, also a Friday. So we will be streaming that day. Springtime stream. I want to see lots of flowers in that stream. Maybe we can get some flower gifts going on, some dancing flowers. I'll talk to Tom about that in a little bit. We are here in Broken Hill Foundry with Observer functionality. So you can see the hunters outlined in red. If we switch to the hunters, the monsters outlined in red. Great bird's eye view potential. As I mentioned before, my favorite part of it. You can see those traps. You can see where everything's laid out. You can see what the monster's dealing with, where he's struggling with, the walls he's pushing his face against. So back in a corner here. Rough spot for the monster. Jackasath says that we should have a holiday that day. While I agree, the show must go on, and we will bring a stream on the Friday. They got him in a dome. As I mentioned before, you can see the dome on the mini-map. Such an awesome tool for Observer mode here. You can see the separation. You can see where the mines are set up in there. And, of course, the bird's eye from the Kraken, which I love. Lightning strikes coming in. Vortex blast follow-up. Nicely done. Assault on very low health. And Assault goes down. Support going in for the cloak. And Rez. Nicely done not to Rez, though, because Lazarus is in the game. I think it looked like he was thinking about it. Maybe he was trying to hide the body there. That's obviously something you want to do when you have Lazarus in the game, is coordinate with your support to trade cloaks. Support right now just trying to push the Kraken back off of the body so Lazarus can go in and do his job, which he did very well. Assault back up with no strikes. Daisy out, though. Daisy, though, you could see here on the mini-map that Daisy was able to be rezzed, and Lazarus went in and rezzed Daisy. So another cool feature on the mini-map there is you can see those res potentials for Lazarus. Monster on just a sliver of health. Relentless Hunter team. And we can look behind him. We can see how far away they are. You can also see that on the mini-map with the separation there. This outline, a feature of Observer Mode, works similar to the Monster Smell ability, but you can turn it on full time to see what's going on here. And the Kraken on the run. Daisy cam in full effect. Daisy on the move. There she goes. So full camera selections between all the hunters. As I mentioned before, love staying with medic support. Assault's a great camera for just seeing the very up-close action. Monster's great for the bird's eye view of seeing the whole battlefield, where all the traps are, those sort of things. Monster ready to stage up. That would definitely help the Monster situation with health. And as you can see here on the mini-map now, looking at the Monster, just massive separation. Monster staging up. You see the stage up here. You see the stage up here. You're also going to see where he spends his points here on the right-hand side once he's done. Right now, survival odds full in favor of the Hunters, 62 to 38.